Okay, we were going to start a how to draw a feather tutorial. First I'm going to give you guys like a general outline, and then I'll do a time lapse of some shading. I'll leave a little bit to show you some shading, and then we will go from there. Okay, so here we go. The first mark you want to make, you can make any kind of line really. It can be any kind of curve mark, anything like that, if you can see that. And what you want to do, this is basically your stem of the feather, so you want to kind of make it point. Then basically this at the top you do not want to point at. And bring this point down. Basically want to trace your line to go on the side of it like that. Sorry about that. Okay. Next, we'll start from the bottom. You got your point of your feather. Okay. Usually at a point of a feather, whatever, you have your little outskirts of feathers. All I'm doing is basically just lines. Give it say some extra feather points. Then for your outline, you're not going to use this as an outline, but you can use this as a base. So basically you make a point. Basically follow the same line you did, but what you're going to do at the end where you're making your little marks down here, you want to bring it right down. It's kind of a swirled feather. It's the same thing. Same thing on the other side, bring it down. That's like your basic sketch. What you want to do also, before you do your outline marks of everything, let's switch it to this. You can see it better. We have some breaks. Breaks of the feather. You want to kind of spread them out too. You don't want to do them too close. And this is another drawing like you can really kind of have fun with. Sorry about that. I'm not used to holding a camera and drawing at the same time. But if you notice when I'm doing the breaks like these, they're going with the flow of the feather. So basically what I mean is when you start a break right here in your feather, you flow upward toward the feather angle. If you know what I mean. Same thing. Bring this down, do the same thing. Some breaks. Okay. That's your general basic outline of a feather. I'm going to go ahead and do a time lapse and get some of it done. And then I'll probably stop at this point right there. And then I will show you more on how to shade it. Okay? Stay tuned. Okay, we're back from our time lapse thing. This is basically the top of the feather. What I'm basically going to show you is just like this bottom half. I'm not going to probably do the rest of it or whatever, just to show you a general idea on how to shade a feather. What you want to do is, like I went through the last video about the light source and your dark source. Basically your light is coming from this side. So this particular point right here on this side is going to be a little lighter than this side. See how the ends are a little bit more darker, And it starts from this top, comes in and be darker and darker and darker. I mean, you're gonna have a little light, you know, to give it some realism and dimension. But what we're gonna do is first we're gonna start with your stem. Get a thin line, as thin as you can get it, for this side because it's the lighter side. Do what you can. This side of it, since it's your darker side, your more shadow side, you're going to want to kind of come with a darker, thicker line. The pencil I'm using is not too good of a pencil, but you gotta use what you can. Okay. And your points right here that you were making here, you can make some dark ones too. They all don't have to be dark. Make some blends. If you want, like I said, I'm just basically drawing lines and flicking it out with my wrist. You can also do some dots if you like. You don't have to, but some feathers are done like that. My particular Navajo feather for the Indian that I have in my nationality has the dots in like that. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll start on the darker side. What you want to do on this outside, like I said, you got the outside line. You don't want to just basically just make dark lines. Don't put them too close together. I mean, you can, but you want to leave them kind of streaked and kind of placed out, almost like the wings, how we did on the heart with the wings, where you did your line shading. This is basically almost the same thing, but we're going to blend them a little bit more. Now the inside right here, same thing with the lines. You want them to kind of be kind of lighter, but if you see what I'm doing, I'm going with the flow of the feather. I'm not just going straight. That doesn't give it any flow, and it stops the whole dimension of the whole thing. To do that, you can take your finger, you take a piece of paper, you can blend them a little bit. Don't blend them too much, leave some light in there. Okay, and then with the lighter side, same thing on the outside, but you don't want to apply too much pressure on your pencil on this side, because you got, like you said, your light source. I'll actually put that right here. I said you don't have to necessarily use the arrow for the light source. I sometimes do, depending on what type of piece I'm drawing or tattooing. To make sure I know where my dimensions are, same thing on the thing. Light lines, go with the flow of your drawing. Leave it a light, take your finger, and there you go. You can sharpen it up if you want. Even with your stem of your feather, and go back, make your line darker if needed. You could also give it a little shade up. You can do that also. So I mean, that's a general like feather drawing basically, and like I said, I did the same thing with the top. I did the darker lines on the outside, same thing with the inside, because this is your darker side. But also, like I said, you can do different styles depending on you. Basically, if you have your stem, you can start from the lines in here and do it that way, and then go to the outside and then raise your lines down. Just remember, like I said, you have your light source and you have your dark side. This is where your shadow's going. Okay, and then this is where the light is. And then what you want to do, like I said, you can take your finger, you can take a piece of paper, anything you really want, and you can just blend them. Don't have to press hard with your finger, you can just blend them. But your main focal point is your stem right here. You want to leave, no matter what, if you shade up, or you can leave it blank, you can leave it white, you want to have that white glare right there. The reason why you want to have the white glare right there, that sets it from different from dark to light. That's your dimension, like basically your middle point. That's what sets the whole feather off, like with dimension. Like I said, you can play with it. You can do all kinds of different lines with it. It's not really a hard thing to draw. And I hope this helps you out with your art career, and hope to hear some comments. Thanks. Have a nice night.